Hello, friends. James Stevenson back with another episode of Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today. It is my sad duty to inform you that today's haters are former Tesla bulls Ross Gerber and Leo Koguan. I'll check in with my co host Loki, who is as disgusted about today's topic as I am. Before I share my desktop with you and show you the first of the two haters, I'm going to roll the Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today sizzle in honor of Ross Gerber. By virtue of the content of this post to X, I will be voting no, Ross Gerber said, on everything on the Tesla proxy, no friends and family on the board of directors, no obscene pay package after destroying $600 billion of Tesla value, no moving to Texas to avoid shareholder governance. Are you kidding me? He got 2.2 million views and 2.1k likes on his post, raking in 1 like per 1,000 views. I replied to Ross 3 years ago, you said Elon was the amazing innovator of our time, but now you refuse to honor his employment contract? For 6 years of work that made many of your clients wealthy? Do you honor your commitments or do you back out once the work is done and you have your money? That's about as surly as I get in a reply. I got 188,000 views and more likes than Ross got. I got an order of magnitude fewer views, and I got more likes. Let's listen to this video. I'm fired up. Let's play this video.
It's actually listening. And his handlers were kind of like, oh, God, Ross is being very direct, and hopefully he doesn't take this wrong. But I was like, Elon, I'm big on Twitter, too, but, like, dude, you're killing us all, you know? Like, you got to raise money. You got to stop doing this. And literally, like, the next day, he raised money, and he stopped doing it. And I was like, wow, you know, he did a little bit more. But, like, I was like, wow, you know, this guy really gets it. Like, he's not just some oblivious billionaire rich guy. Like, he really cares about
he's actually
doing the right thing. Yeah, totally. Elon's a really cool guy. Like, you know, he's a genius, so he's got to deal with all us rest of us mortals, you know. But if you can get him, he's really sensitive, and he does care about what his customers and his investors think, and you know, even he's kind of got a thin skin, to be honest. I have a much tougher skin than he does, you know, for insults and things like that. But I think he is the amazing inventor of our time. I think he is the innovator that we'll have movies about and books about one day, which we kind of do already. But like, he's my age. We went to the same school. We lived 2 blocks away at Penn from each other, and like never met. And we definitely didn't take the same classes. And
you didn't. He didn't look familiar somewhat. You guys
no, I never met him. Okay. No, I never. I knew. I
well,
was
Penn's
just
pretty
back.
big.
It's a big school, and I was in a house. He wasn't in the fraternity scene.
Okay.
I was a social guy. You know, I partied. You know, he was like
busy.
Yeah, he was studying. He was
studying.
Exactly. You know, I studied too, because you have to at Penn or else you fail out. But I was like much more concerned about what college kids should be concerned about. I went up and I talked.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's Ross Gerber in his own words a couple of years ago, while Elon was under the same compensation agreement, talking about him being the amazing inventor of our time and the innovator that movies would be written about. He replied to me, Elon is no less of an innovator because I don't believe in revoting for a voided pay package, especially one that if used today, he wouldn't qualify for more than half of. Well, that's false, because he earned all 12 tranches. The portion of this that Ross Gerber objects to, he wouldn't qualify for more than half of it, is that the stock price is less than $650 billion today. Or the market cap of Tesla is less than $650 billion today. Well, it's only under it by 3 tranches at the moment, so 9 out of 12 is more than half of it. Ross Gerber, I didn't feel like going into that. I felt like saying ratio here, because that's not even the point. The point is, Elon offered the board a 2018 CEO Performance Award structure The board of directors said, looks good to us, we agree to this, let's ask the shareholders. The shareholders looked at it and said, yes, we agree to these terms if you, Elon Musk, can achieve these insanely aggressive targets for revenue growth, for adjusted EBITDA growth, and for market capitalization growth, we'll be more than happy to compensate you with a tiny fraction of the amount by which our shares must appreciate in value in order for you to earn all of these. So there was an agreement, and it was the agreement that Elon Musk understood himself to be working for. And if you vote against that compensation package now, which is your own business, you can vote your shares any way you want. Your reputation is what other people say about you. Character is who you know yourself to be. So you have to live with how you vote your shares on this issue. Are you the kind of person who, once you have your money and all of the work has been done by the other party, takes advantage of an opportunity to stiff them for their work? Or are you the kind of person who honors your commitments? Which kind of person are you? Only you will know how you vote. Ross Gerber, I'm shocked to see, has publicly admitted that he's going to be voting no, because he's in the business of earning people's trust. And I don't understand what possessed him to market himself and his firm by saying that he backs out of agreements when given the opportunity to, if he's already made his money. I mean, that is brutal lack of self-awareness, and appalling and shocking. And that's about as serious as you'll see me get in the video. But that's what's going on there. I'm going to minimize this and show you this other thread begun by Leo Koguan at Kogan Leo. The magician is a serial stock options killer. He received gifts 8% of Tesla in his 2009 stock option plan, again 5% of Tesla in 2012, and again 10% 2018, that the Court of Chancery of Delaware finally decided enough is enough. The stock option were illegal and had to be returned to shareholders. All his 13.4% of Tesla now were gifted by shareholders. He has been fully compensated, or could be argued overpaid, by Tesla shareholders. All right, and then this is a very long tweet, so I'm going to back out of here and just show you how I replied. If you always thought Elon's March 2018 compensation plan goals were going to be so easy to achieve, why didn't you buy $2.283 billion of the equivalent call options back then to get the same deal for yourself, except without having to actually, do any work? So Elon's stock compensation is not gifts, as Leo Koguan said repeatedly here. Stock options are the right to purchase shares. And specifically in Elon's case, he had the right to purchase more shares at the price they were trading at the day the plan began. The same price anybody else could have paid for Tesla shares on January 19th, 2018, which was the reference date for Elon's plan that became active March 21st, 2018. Upon the vote of 73% approval by Tesla shareholders, excluding Elon and Kimball, who both recused themselves from the voting. There's some information here that I tweeted on October 22nd of 2020 about that for reference. Leo Koguan did not reply, but Sammy at 748_407 did. The question is, would a $2 billion plan have been better for shareholders? With that, Elon would not have bought Twitter, and continued success of Tesla would have mattered to him more. I replied, here's a guy who doesn't know it was a $2.283 billion plan. So the gap accounting for this is, as gap accounting so often is, inscrutable. It's hard to understand how FASB arrived at their treatment for how you value stock options or how you expense stock options, because it's a non-cash expense. You're issuing new shares as compensation, and then one of your employees or directors on your board is buying them, right? That's typically how stock option plans work. So Tesla only ever expensed $2.283 billion of non-cash stock-based compensation expense as Elon made progress towards earning the 12 tranches of the plan. This amount was determined using a Black-Scholes model at plan inception, roughly approximating how much money you would have needed to spend on call options that equate to the goals that Elon's plan set out for himself to be able to get as many shares as Elon will buy with $7.1 billion at the stock price that Tesla was trading at January 19th, 2018. I guess he made $56 billion of that plan, so yes, it was $56 billion plan that he negotiated with himself, but do you think it would not have been better for Tesla shareholders if upon reaching the goals of 2018 plan, he would have made $2 billion instead of $56 billion? This guy does not get it. I replied he didn't make anything from Tesla apart from earning the right to purchase more shares at the same price per share that anybody could have paid for them on March 21st, 2018. If you saw that plan announced, it was in the news, it was on the cable financial news networks at the time, and thought these goals are going to be easy for Elon to achieve, you could have bought shares at right around the same price still on March 21st, 2018. In fact, the price had dropped from January 19th to March 21st. They went from about, I don't want to guess at what the numbers were, but I'm doing pretty well recalling from memory. Okay, Sammy said, this is new. His compensation package he negotiated with himself wasn't even a compensation package, but you are not answering the questions. This guy doesn't understand what stock options are. Stock options are the right to purchase shares on a future date for a predetermined price. If Tesla could not have secured Elon's services as CEO for 10 years by offering only $2 billion cash, which is what Sammy is proposing, it would have been much worse for Tesla shareholders who would have been wiped out if he had left the company and some other CEO had bankrupted it, right? So this guy proposed, hey, the board of directors should have just offered Elon $2 billion worth of cash. Well, if they had, and if he had said, no, you can have Martin Eberhard back as your CEO again, and left the company to go focus on SpaceX full-time, or, Boring Company or Neuralink or whatever else he wanted to work on, Tesla would have gone bankrupt and shareholders would have been wiped out. But because the board of directors made an offer that he was willing to accept, Elon stayed, and the value of the shareholders' investment more than 10x'd in value, more than an order of magnitude share price appreciation. Sammy replied, but that was not the question. I see answering is hard. Point is, he negotiated with himself for a package that was not in line with long-term benefits of Tesla shareholders. Smaller dollar amount would have been enough, but also secured his interest over a long time, if not $2 billion, $5 billion, or $10 billion. This guy doesn't get it. Tesla only expensed $2 billion because that was how much the call options would have cost at the beginning of 2018. It didn't cost Tesla $5 billion or $10 billion, and Tesla's going to get $7 billion back from Elon when he buys the shares. And Uncle Sam will get a windfall profit off of the taxes Elon will immediately owe, and he'll have to sell more than half of the options he buys instantly. Okay, let's explore your ridiculous hypothetical. Are you asking whether it would have been better for Tesla shareholders if Tesla, meaning someone who works at Tesla, thus ultimately reporting to Elon Musk, who remains CEO, had torn up the 2018 agreement that both the board and the shareholders overwhelmingly voted for, that Elon earned all 12 tranches of and the board had already approved the earning and vesting of, and substituted an arbitrary $2 billion cash payment to Elon instead, pretending that Elon wouldn't just fire whoever tried doing that and tell their backfill to abide by the actual terms of the agreement? No. The $2 billion cash disbursed would reduce Tesla's cash balance by $2 billion and hit SG&A expense, reducing earnings by $2 billion or 57 cents per share. Elon would surely sue for breach of contract. That might make things a bit dysfunctional at Tesla for a while. You think shareholders would be happier in that circumstance? They would not. They would be happier if this $2 billion cash disbursement does not occur. And instead, a $7 billion cash inflow from Elon purchasing the shares occurs. Sammy says, no, still not answering the stock grant. Keep everything the same, but substantially lower number of shares. I want 100 million shares. Elon, we like this proposal, but we think 100 million is too high. We grant 10 million. Now try again. So I said, oh, so you're asking if the Lakers would be better off if they were paying LeBron James $9.7 million per year instead of $97 million per year. Let's just offer people 10% of their market value. Let's just try offering people 10% as much as their services are worth and see what happens. Nope, Sammy said. Obviously, you cannot force yourself to answer. Of course, it is a hypothetical question, outlines what independent board should have done. I said your hypothetical is built on a false premise. Elon would not have agreed to work for 10% as much compensation. Sammy said, and you know this because? I replied, would you agree to work for 10% of what your performance is worth? Who would? Who would take a 90% price cut or a 90% pay cut from their employer, right? Who would agree to work for 10% of what their efforts are truly valued at? Not the point, Sammy replied. The point is that no one negotiated on behalf of shareholders, and we do not know if $5.6 billion would have been enough, but we know the $5.6 billion he would not have been able to buy Twitter. I replied, the shareholders negotiated on behalf of shareholders. There was a vote. The votes are in. The votes have been counted. 73% in favor. That's nearly 3/4 of shareholders approving of the package, despite what some Delaware judges egotistically believe themselves to know better than. If the shareholders thought it was too much compensation relative to achievement of the plan goals outlined, they would have voted no. But they didn't vote no, they voted yes. Who represented shareholders? Shareholders voted yes, no for the plan presented to them. The shareholders knew the exact terms of the compensation agreement. They could have voted no, but they overwhelmingly voted yes. What part of this is hard for you to admit? Sammy replied, above is true. There is nothing hard to admit that, but that was not the point. Yes, your point was that if Elon were a complete dolt, he would have agreed to a compensation plan worth 5 or 10% as much as the overwhelming majority of Tesla shareholders rightly judged his leadership was worth. He replied, difficult to have a debate, shaking my head. I said I'd find it difficult to debate too if I were forced to defend the position you described. He said, no, you don't want to talk about the issue, I asked, and bring on a million excuses and purposeful misunderstandings. I said, what have I not addressed, sweetie? He said, this. I said, yes, the shareholders would be better off, as would the Lakers ownership if LeBron James would take $9.7 million per year, or any shareholders in any other company would be if their CEO had agreed to work for only 5 or 10% as much total compensation as they actually agreed to. And I got no reply on that one. So there you go. Final thoughts wrapping up on this one. It's your business if you want to vote no to the compensation agreement Elon believed he was working under that was rescinded by a Delaware judge, overreaching and paternally patronizing Tesla shareholders, saying that Kathleen St. Jude McCormick knows better than Tesla shareholders did at plan inception how much compensation Elon Musk ought to earn. So yeah, you can vote no if you want to, but you will need to live with the consequences of knowing what that makes you, which is someone who does not honor your agreements. That's today's video. So back we go to Loki's bed. Oh, and I'll tack on one more since I'm so fired up already. As we outro, what's going to happen if the vote is no on the shareholder meeting agenda item, right? If people vote no and decide that the compensation Elon Musk should have for the past 6 years of his work at Tesla is $0. We don't know. We don't know who Elon will appoint as COO or who he'll recommend to the board of directors to make CEO when he quits. Could be Ross Gerber. Maybe he'll name Ross Gerber COO of Tesla, and then Ross can show us how much better a job he can do managing Tesla than Elon Musk has been doing over the past 6 years. Clearly, he knows he can do better if he thinks Elon should be paid $0 over that time period. Yeah. All right, that's my video for today. If you like today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe to me right now. You can do that on YouTube if you're watching me there, or on X. You can follow me there. Thank you to everybody who supports me if you're doing that on Patreon or on X or on YouTube, as my two executive producers, Kenty Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com did, and I'll see you in the next one.